Good evening. Today we'll be discussing regarding judicial review. The discussion is based on the information, the news that has been published by the Hindu in today's newspapers. We know what's happening in Shabarimala. So there was a decision, it was a tradition, in fact, that women of menstrual age are not permitted to enter into the sanctum sanctorum. So this is an age-old tradition that is being practiced in Shabarimala. But over a period of time, so many petitions have reached the Supreme Court, and finally, Supreme Court, by upholding the principles in the Constitution, directed the Kerala government to take care that women can enter into the sanctum sanctorum. And so many, these disturbances are happening. Some women are trying to enter inside, and there were protests, and so many things are happening, and we are discussing on day-to-day basis. So now the point is that again, certain petitions have been filed in the Supreme Court, requesting the Supreme Court to review its own judgment. So what exactly is this? Kindly remember, I'm not talking about the just the words judicial review. So this is going beyond. This is going beyond the concept of the words judicial review. That is the reason why. So we are going to discuss about the rationale behind the judicial review. Meaning, in this particular context, whether the Supreme Court can review its own judgments or not. But if it is permitted to go for the review of its own judgments, what is the basis for this? And is it a complaint that is being lodged? Or is it something asking the Supreme Court that you made a mistake and look into this one? But what exactly is this? Let's try to understand. But if you look at the Shabarimala issue, review petitions have been filed by many people in the Supreme Court, requesting the Supreme Court to look into the order that has been given by the Supreme Court to for allowing the women to enter into the sanctum sanctorum. And of course, some people are very strongly believing in their traditions. And after this is a democracy, people have the right to speech and expression. So in this manner, the people have reached the Supreme Court, and it was supposed to be heard in the Supreme Court yesterday. But one of the judges who was a part of constitutional bench was absent, and that justice was on medical leave. And that is the reason why the CJI said that it will be heard after the concerned justice also joins the constitutional bench. But what is the rationale behind this? Let's try to understand. Under Article 137 of the Constitution, Supreme Court can review its own judgment. Meaning, Supreme Court might be giving some judgments. Later, some people again approach the Supreme Court, requesting the Supreme Court to look into the judgment that is given by the Supreme Court. Again, Supreme Court will accept that. If there is a striking point where there is a necessity for modification of the judgment, Supreme Court delivers such judgment. Fine. So this is coming under the concept of judicial review. And this is very much permitted by the Constitution under Article number 137. So in this scenario, what are all the various judgments that are given by the Supreme Court earlier? That is important for our examination point of view. And what exactly is that? Let's try to look into that. But before going into the details, I would like to show you what is article number 137. Okay, and listen to me very, very, very carefully. So this is a matter that should be understood very clearly and carefully. And you are expected to write these cases. If the related question is appearing, you are expected to write these case class in the examination to get good marks. Now, let me open the document and show you this. Look at this. First of all, Article 137, and after that, I'll tell you what has been given in today's The Hindu paper. Article 137 says that a review of judgments or orders by the Supreme Court. Look at the words very clearly. Supreme Court can review its own judgments or orders that are given by the apex court, subject to the provisions of any law made by the parliament or any rules made under Article 145. The Supreme Court shall have the power to review any judgment pronounced or order made by it. Kindly look at this very clearly and carefully. Don't miss the basic point. Don't miss the basic point. While discussing about judicial review during our Indian polity classes, I made it very, very clear that the words judicial review are nowhere mentioned in the constitution. I repeat, the words judicial review are nowhere mentioned in the constitution. Even in Article 137, can you see the words judicial review here? No, those words are not there, but the meaning is clearly indicating reviewing its own judgments or orders made by the Supreme Court. But the condition is that subject to the provisions of any law made by the Parliament. Please remember this article. Under this article number 137, Supreme Court is reviewing its own judgments. Supreme Court is reviewing its own orders. Please remember this article number 137. So this may be a possible question, in any forthcoming examination in objective type, under which article Supreme Court can review its own judgments. Article 137. Please remember what you read under article number 13. So what you read under article number 13, that is a different thing. That is absolutely a different thing. Article number 13. That says very clearly regarding the, this explicitly mentioning about the so-called judicial review. So that is with respect to the constitution, that is respect to the law or any, this order given by the government. So that is something different. But here I am talking exclusively about the judicial review of its own judgments. That is coming under article number 137. While writing the examination, you have to mention very clearly that article number 137. Article 13, that is a part of fundamental rights, that's a different thing. But now we are discussing about article number 137. Okay, so now straight away, once again, I'll open the document and show you the document. Then we will go for the discussion. But before that, I want you to read this. Read this once again. Then we'll go ahead. Okay. So now this is the this information that is given in the Hindu paper today. Look at this. What is the rationale behind review? Various case laws are coming into picture, and follow me very carefully. The philosophy behind review jurisdiction is explained by the Supreme Court in A.R. Antule judgments. So what is the rationale that has been explained by the Supreme Court in A.R. Antule judgment? The court first admits it is supreme. Listen very carefully. Read the words very carefully. Supreme Court said that it is supreme. The Supreme Court is supreme. That's it. But not infallible. But not infallible. It said very clearly, to err is human. Courts, including the apex one, are no exceptions. Meaning, errors are committed by human beings. And the courts are not exception, including the Supreme Court. That's what the Supreme Court said. Meaning, Supreme Court may also commit some mistakes. So the judicial review is an opportunity The review is an opportunity for the judiciary to review its own judgments, meaning to correct itself. This is what is mentioned by Supreme Court in A.R. Antule judgment. Am I clear? Look at this next one. Article 137. Look at this very carefully. Look at this. Right. I'm talking about this. Kindly have a look at this. Yes. Right. Now, so Article 137 of the Constitution provides the Supreme Court the power to review any judgment pronounced or order made by it. Just now I have shown you Article number 137. This is nothing but the reflection of the same. Look at this. Article 137 does not limit. So I am explaining from here. You kindly have a look at this now. Article 137 does not limit the grounds of review. However, these may be limited by legislation and the rules made by the court. Kindly remember very clearly, Article 137 is not restricting any ground for review, but it can be restricted by Parliament through the legislations, or it can be restricted by the Supreme Court by its own rules and regulations. Hope I'm clear. Very important one. And you just use this information while you are writing the answer, and you will be getting very good marks. Look at this. Next one. Have a look at this. This one. Now, look at this. Review is a rare remedy. The finality of an apex court order should not be lightly unsettled. So this is what Supreme Court said in Greenview T case. It is rarer still to examine review petitions filed against a constitution bench judgment. Right? So very important. And that too in the open court, review pleas are decided by circulation in judges' chambers. Kindly remember, this review is a rare remedy. Right? And look at this, what the court has said. Look at this. It said, a review is not an appeal in disguise. It is not an appeal. Look at this very clearly. The words are very important. Whereby an erroneous decision is reheard and corrected. It is not just appeal in disguise, where you are requesting the Supreme Court to look into the erroneous decisions made by it and correct it. But it should be entertained only to remedy the patent error. Error must be on the face of the record and not one which has to be searched. So meaning the error should be very clearly be reflected. And you are not trying to find any new error that is present. You are not searching for any error. That should be shown very clearly on the face of the record. Am I clear? Very important. And kindly remember all the case laws that are given in this particular, this picture, and you need to follow this. Am I clear? And if you start reading the paper like this, you will get more knowledge and more knowledge with respect to the working of the Supreme Court. Clear? That's the reason why Supreme Court will never will give judgments just like that. Fine. And it will look into the various concepts, and finally it will give a judgment. And if there are any issues, one has the right to approach the judiciary once again through a petition called review petition. And whatever we have discussed today, that is with respect to the rationale behind the judicial review. So thank you so much for being with me this evening, and I wish you all a very good luck, and I'll see you in the next class. Take very good care. Good night.